Oh, Blumhouse. What are we going to do with you? I'm John Stein from MacMovieGuy.com, my favorite blind film critic, and today I'm going to review The Woman in the Yard. There's a woman in my yard. Call the authorities. Um, so this is a movie. It stars Danielle Detweiler. Has a pretty basic title. It's produced by Blumhouse. So we know where we're going with this. I'm seeing this a little bit later than everybody else. I feel like the internet's already had their firestorm about it. I have my own thoughts, so we'll talk about it. In this video, click like and subscribe and join my cult following here. I want to be able to sell you merch. That's what I want. I want hats with my face on it, like on top of your head, but only only on a few people. Not on everybody, just a couple of people, just so people are like, what is that hat? What is that? And you can be like, I'm in a cult on YouTube. Join it. Anyway, so why do we sell you merch? I don't know. Yeah, The Woman in the Yard. I don't, goddamn. It's a really slow movie, but it's also fast at some points. It can't figure out what it wants to do. It just, sometimes it'll just sit in moments, and then other times it's like, how do we get here? So Danielle Detweiler plays this mother who, at the beginning of the film, she's already kind of grieving. We see her just kind of laying in bed, and she's watching this video on repeat of her husband talking. You kind of get the vibes, you know what I'm saying? Like this movie spends a lot of time trying to tell you through nuance that the husband is dead. And I was thinking to myself, we have a lot of movies where there's like a parent and some kids in a house in the middle of fucking nowhere. And like this has become like a subgenre of movies. That's the thing nobody's talking about right now is, didn't we just see this movie before? Like, how is this different than Hold Your Breath? How is this different than Arcadian? How is Halle Berry's movie? What was that movie called? Where she's in the middle of nowhere with two kids, and a dog too. I mean, like that's basically the same thing. When did this become like the bee's knees in Hollywood? Let's take a woman or a man and some kids and stick them out in the middle of nowhere, and something weird is happening. We don't know what, but something. And that something changes a little bit from film to film, but it's basically all of those films have one parent, two kids, and like most of them have a dog. So, yeah. So Detweiler, who's a fantastic actress, by the way, and is the sole reason to watch this movie. She has two kids. Tay is the boy who's like functionally able to do things like at 14, 15, somewhere around in there. They mentioned that he can't drive yet at some point, so he's not quite like a 16, 17, but he has driven a car, which is usually when parents start letting kids do that. They're around like 14, 15. I suppose he could be as old as 16 and just in a state where 17 is the age where you get your permit, which is true for some states. So that's his age. And then they have a younger girl who's still learning how to write the alphabet. So I'm going to put her at like 6 because she's still trying to figure out how to write her letters, which I feel like I was doing in kindergarten, maybe first grade. So she's either like 5, 6, somewhere around in there. She's probably played by an actress who is older because that's usually how everything goes in Hollywood, which is why everybody always feels older than they actually are. So like Tay is probably an 18-year-old and this girl is probably like 8 or 9. But those are her kids. And they have a dog, Charlie. And you know, the little one is adorable. She's in like a pillow fort or something like that. She's talking to this stuffed penguin, I think, and she's like, the penguin doesn't like to be afraid. I'm like, well, you're in a Blumhouse movie, so sorry, Mr. Penguin, but I feel like that's going to change for you. Or not. I don't know. So we see Tay is, he's trying to wake up his mom because like there's no power in the house. And because she can't stop watching the same video over and over, her phone died. So they can't call the power company. They're out in the middle of nowhere. And she's still recovering from the car accident. So the car accident was fairly recent that killed her husband, and their dad. The kids don't seem nearly as fazed by it, which is one of the problems that I have with this movie, is her leg is still mangled. Like, she still has a leg that years, like, this isn't like years ago. The dad has not been gone for like a long time. She still has the fucked up truck in the garage from the car accident. So this is something that literally could have happened like 2 weeks ago. And the kids seem like they've already adjusted to the fact that their dad died. You know, they don't seem morose or depressed or sad, or they both just seem like they kicked it back up and they're like, well, we're kids. We rebound quickly. And I'm like, I don't know if you rebound that quickly. Your mom can barely go down the stairs. Like, and she's clearly deep in a grieving process, and I think that's kind of what the whole movie's about. But never mind. Anyway, so she eventually goes downstairs. Tay has figured out how to make eggs. He's decided to put Doritos in them. They fed the dog something that wasn't dog food because they're out of dog food. Again, that's the kind of thing when they start running out of things. It's like you would have been out of these things a long time ago, but these are sort of like more recent things, you know, like, so if we just ran out of dog food today, feels like unless you had like an ungodly supply of dog food for some reason in this house, that's kind of like a thing that you get sort of at the store every week. So I don't think this happened that long ago. So I don't know why the kids just seem unaffected by it. I literally thought this movie was that like her whole family was dead and she was just imagining the kids were still there, and that, you know, but that's what this was, because the kids seemed so normal. In this movie, like, I'm cool that dad's gone, whatever. Anyway, so eventually they figure out there's a woman in the yard. I mean, we're going to cut to the chase because dog vomits and some other stuff happens. But basically, we're building this thing where they like, and the audio description supports this really well too. I'm blind. We watch things with audio description. And it's like they mention that they notice like the empty spot at the table, you know, little things like that. When he goes into the attic to find, I think, his dad's lighter, because they've packed up his dad's things and put them in the attic. They've made it that far. They find like an old coffee mug of his, and he stares at it and he's sad for a moment before going back down and making Doritos omelets. So yeah, there's a woman in the yard and she's just sitting there in like a chair. It's just like a chair and she's just sitting in the yard. And I love how nobody ever goes like, where did she get the chair? You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like that's one of the first questions. I'd be like, because they just act like there's this weird woman who just is sitting outside. Even the kids, just like, there's a woman outside. I'm like, is she carrying the chair around with her? What do you think is happening? Do you guys is that your chair? Do you have a chair that sits outside your house? Nobody ever brings up the fact that she's sitting in a chair. This isn't a woman who's standing in the yard. No, she's sitting in a chair in the yard. It's really weird that nobody ever brings that up. Like, they're never just like, how'd the chair get here? Is there an old lady that's just dragging a chair in our front yard? Staring at our house? So anyway, Danielle, I forget what her character's name is. Danielle goes out to confront her, sort of. And it's very ominous. And the director chooses to do something weird with the voice. She's like, "Today's the day. Oh, your kids, they look so tasty, you could just eat them." You know, just throwing out like random things so that people will be like, "Ooh, what is this movie about? I have no idea. It could be about anything. The kids are going to get eaten in this movie. Great. We're headed for something about child cannibalism." So, but kind of what ends up happening is just, it deals with, I don't know, I'm going to go ahead and call it like, sort of like temporary mental health illness things. I'm not a doctor. I'm a film critic on YouTube. And it kind of just leans into that a lot with like Danielle and her grief and being stuck out in the middle of nowhere in a house with two kids and a little girl who cannot for the life of her figure out how to write an R. Like, that's a huge thing. That's a major plot point, by the way. Huge plot point. This is probably the most important thing that you needed to ever pick up out of any of the clues in the thing is pay attention to the fact the girl cannot write her R's correctly. It's led people to believe that there are multiple cuts of this movie. So, do I think Blumhouse is that profound that they sent half the theaters in the country one cut of the film and they sent another half of the theaters in the country another cut of the film? No, I don't think they clued this movie. You know? Where they're like, "Oh, which theater did you go into? Which ending did you get? I don't know." It's like a Mandela effect, though. So, so the little girl is trying to write her things, and mom's getting sort of increasingly annoyed, and Tay is, I don't know. He wants to, I mean, Tay like legitimately just wants to solve the situation. Danielle tries to use the truck that's broken down to see if she can charge her phone. And I also thought, I was like, doesn't Tay have a phone? Does he have no electronics? Is the only electronics, you can usually charge a phone off of something else too. Do you have nothing else in this house? You guys have no computers or laptops or anything that would ever give this a charge? Nothing. You live based off of one cell phone. Anyway, it's just like, this is one of those things where it's like a plot of convenience. So, because if her cell phone worked, she would just use her cell phone. You know, if the car would start, they'd be gone. I mean, like, there are so many things where you just go, these are basic things, and they just happen to not be because the movie needs them to be. I don't want to give any spoilers, so I'm not going to tell you how the rest of the film lays out, but you probably won't like it. It's really slow, and then it just kind of gets weird. It starts finally going, "Oh, we have to do something now." And so halfway through the film, they're like, finally some stuff starts happening, but it's just bizarre. And I didn't really like it. It doesn't really give you a definitive ending either. It's kind of like, this is what we've got. Aren't we brilliant? Not really. I feel like the movie is trying to say something, but I feel like also the writer didn't know how to say it, and or this film went through cuts, like had edits, which makes it problematic in order how to tell the story, how to get from point A to point B, is that they couldn't figure out the best path forward for the story. The one thing that's true is Danielle Detweiler is, even in a shitty film, still a fantastic actress. This isn't the best performance of her career, but she's still killing it. Like, she deserves an apology from Oscar voters for the last 2 times that they had been like, nah, not good enough. Because she is absolutely good enough. Danielle Detweiler is proving herself to be one of the greatest talents we currently have in film. Like, she constantly, out of the gate, knocks it out of the park every single time, even in a shitty film, like, even in a shitty Blumhouse movie. That's when you know someone is a great actress, because I've seen some performances recently from some people in these, like, low-grade horror movies where you're just like, is that a great performance? Like, last year we had The Deliverance. I'm like, was anybody actually good in that movie? Glenn Close? Like, would anybody say that was a good Glenn Close performance? I don't think it was. Everybody was like excited to see Monique acting again, and it's like, did she do anything? I don't think so. It's an Academy Award winner. Andra Day had maybe a little bit to do, but compare that to anything else she's done before, which she doesn't even have that big of a filmography. I just don't think that film worked for anybody. So sometimes you get people. I thought Halle Berry in Never Let Go. I remember the title of the movie. Uh, I thought she really was committed to the film. It's not a good film, but she's committed to it. It was a really good performance. So you can see people sort of rising above the source material. And so that's an example of Danielle Detweiler here. She's rising above the source material. I didn't think Nicolas Cage was exceptionally great in Arcadian. I thought the kids outperformed him. So sometimes these very benign films reveal a lot about an actor's talents and about how much you're willing to commit to a film. Around the same time as this, I also watched Taraji P. Henson and Tyler Perry's Straw, and that's a fantastic performance in a Tyler Perry movie. So some people are just great actors, and they just, when they are handed a script, they just come out guns blazing all the time. And Danielle does that here. She's completely, handling this weird role that she's been given, where she can emote, but within like the confines of what the movie allows her to do, and in a given sequence, and sort of like very slowly. We have these scenes that just kind of sit. If you're looking for jump scares, they don't really happen until like the third act of the film, when the film starts playing around with like, this is what we want the movie to mean. This is what the woman is doing in the yard. But yeah, it takes a while to get there. I don't know. I didn't like this movie, but I thought Danielle killed it and kind of bumped it up a little bit. So I think people are going to debate the ending for a while, unnecessarily, because I don't think the film is that interesting to debate it. It's a film that just didn't work. It's a film that was an idea, that was a concept, and ultimately it just didn't come through. And that's kind of the same thing that happened with a lot of these films, is that they're ideas and concepts, and they sort of worked but didn't really work, and they rely too heavily on little plot conveniences along the way of like, well, of course that would happen, and of course that's not there. Of course they don't have access to that. Of course they can't do that. Like little things that kind of box them in to this very limited circumstance, where normally in a horror movie, you're like, well, I would do this, well, I would do that, well, I would do this. And it's like, for some reason, there's some asinine reason why nobody can ever do that. Like, Tay is like, I could drive to the neighbors, because I guess they have another car. And she's like, no, you're not of age to drive. And it's like, does it matter? There's a weird, creepy woman in your front yard. And like, it's to the fucking neighbor's house, man. You're the one who chose to live out in the middle of nowhere. Your neighbor happens to be 2 miles away, but it's going to be down like a dirt path. It's not going to be on a highway or something like that. And she's like, oh, it's, have a driver's license. What cop do you think she's going to run into? And even if he does, he's found help. He can flag down the police officer who's, I don't know, watching the road in the middle of nowhere between her house and her neighbor's house. It's like, some of this stuff doesn't even make common sense, but it's like, I said, no, I'm your mother. So, end of conversation. It's like, but why did you say no? The whole family should be getting in the damn car and trying to get to the neighbor's house. I did this with all the other movies. So, I hate this genre. Please stop doing this. Please stop trapping one parent in a house with 2 kids and then being like, what can we throw at them today? I don't know. Ooh, what supernatural situation can we put them in? I don't know. Let's find out. I think in The Deliverance, she had 2 kids too. She just also had a grandmother. So instead of a dog, she had Glenn Close. And they also weren't in the middle of nowhere. I mean, they legitimately were in the middle of a city, and like Monique could just swing by, and some other people. So, but it was like a mother and 2 kids. Anyway, yeah. So I don't recommend this, but I do recommend watching Danielle Detweiler's performance if you're a fan of hers. I think she's excellent in this. So if you're finding out, if you're like on the fence about it and you're like, I don't want to watch this, just know I haven't told you the movie's good, but I've told you she's good in it. So those are two totally different things. The audio description is fine, I think. I mean, I most of the time we're just kind of sitting there. There's a little bit of violence and gore, but it's PG-13, so you know, don't expect much. Uh, I mean, I guess it was well described. Not much there. This isn't, nobody's face comes flying off or anything like that. There's kind of limited range of. Anyway, debate the ending all you want. I don't think it matters. I don't think anybody's going to care about this movie in 2 or 3 years. This movie is of no consequence. It'll be a blip on Danielle's radar. Eventually, she will get her Oscar nomination. And this will just be the thing that she did that one time. Anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. And this movie is a C-. It's rotten. It's whatever. I can't. I want to give it lower, but also I want to recognize the fact I'm somebody who enjoys performances. So I can watch films that aren't as good movies, but have great acting in them. That actually kind of powers me through some movies. And even on rewatches, I'm like, man, this performance is fantastic. The movie's not great, but oh my God. So because I love great actors, it's probably like more like a D+ movie, but I'm going to give it a C- because of Danielle. So still rotten. I would still, yeah. Anyway, thanks. I'll see you guys on the other side of the yard.